Bengals and Bills, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Huge game. Opened, I believe, at 6.5 in favor of the Buffalo Bills, and that has since gone down to a 5.5-point spread. I think the public very much interested in the Cincinnati Bengals here in this spot. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this line. I understand the Bengals have a bad defense when you look at the scope of the entire season. I understand they're going on the road. I don't understand why it's 5.5 points. I think it should be around 3 max, right? I truly believe Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this football game. And we've been right about the Bengals the past few weeks, right? We were right about them covering against New England. We're right about them covering and winning the game on Thanksgiving with Joe Burrow coming back in Baltimore. And I think they're going to build off of that momentum. What does Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow do this time of year, December and January? They win. Now, Josh Allen and McDermott, they do the same thing, right? I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Buffalo by any means, right? They're obviously out of the picture, not fully out of the picture, but they're trailing New England. If they lose to Cincinnati, they're definitely out of it for the division, right? They're going to be a playoff team. I predict that they're going to lose this game and still make the playoffs. When you're talking about the Buffalo Bills. Lots of interesting matchups in this game. From a health perspective, benefits the Cincinnati Bengals. When you look at the health of their team right now, no Trey Hendrickson. That's about it, right? Tee Higgins, he practiced in full yesterday. I don't think he's officially a go, but he's going to play on Sunday, and you're going to get the boys back. We haven't seen this since half number 1 and game number 2 this year against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Burrow, Chase, Higgins, the guys you built your franchise around, the guys that you paid a ton of money, they're going to be in action probably together on Sunday, and that is going to be huge. That in and of itself is like 5.5 points. You kidding me? And the Bills got their issues. They're banged up. Kincaid, he's missed some time. He's questionable. I kind of expect him to play there at that tight end spot. Bosa has not practiced this week. He's banged up. That is very significant for them. Certainly rushing the passer for the Buffalo Bills, and they were banged up at that tackle position. Dawkins, I don't expect him to play. They had to go with 2 backups last week against Pittsburgh. You would have thought Pittsburgh would have had some more success in that game, especially with T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward. They did not. Buffalo kind of ran it all over them and really dominated that game. That game would have been a blowout from the jump, but Buffalo turned the ball over a couple of times in the first half. That kind of kept Pittsburgh in it going into halftime. Then the second half, Buffalo was able to distance themselves from the Steelers and pull off a really miraculous win, or a big-time win for them. And, I look at this and how things transpired last week for both those teams. I think it's a good thing that Buffalo, went into Pittsburgh and absolutely handled business there in that game. It would be a little bit different, right? If they're coming off a loss, then they're really fighting for their playoff lives. You kind of get a different team. Getting a Buffalo team off a big-time win, I understand you got to go to their place. What happened last time the Bengals went there? It was awesome. And that's one of my favorite games as a Bengals fan. The first game, winning the AFC title to get to the Super Bowl in Arrowhead Stadium. I was there at the game with my dad. It was awesome. That's top of the list probably until they win a Super Bowl. But beyond that, the Buffalo game the following year, probably my favorite Bengals game, right? Just going into that game, they got off to such a hot start. It's the Bengals. People in the media are always going to count them out and disrespect them. That's just going to continue to be the case. But nobody gave them a chance to go in there and win, despite the fact that, they had been to the Super Bowl the previous year. And they go in there and just dominated that game. Got off to a fast start, scored right away. It's snowing, right? Nothing like a good snow game. Bengals went in there, how's Burrow and Chase and these guys going to play in the snow? They've never done it before. Offense was humming in that game. They went in there and absolutely smacked the Buffalo Bills. Defense dominated in that game. Just a great game start to finish. So lots of good memories for the Cincinnati Bengals going back into Buffalo. And this time of year, I haven't studied the weather forecast too much, but I would expect there is a good chance that there's going to be some snowflakes in Buffalo. And I think in a lot of ways this could remind a lot of people of what transpired a couple of years ago in the postseason. So I don't get the line, to be honest with you. I don't get the line. The Bengals are healthier. Both teams have some momentum after big wins last week, but I think people in Vegas are forgetting, right? We talk about this in this league all the time, right? If you're in a spot where you're out, you miss some time, people kind of just move on. And I understand that, but they kind of forget, right? People, when Joe Burrow came back, Joe Burrow was starting in the game as a 7.5-point underdog. I understand how bad the defense was, but like that should never really happen. Right? And it's like, that's who Joe Burrow is. He's that guy, and he showed it in the Thursday night game. Well, now you get Tee Higgins probably back for this game as well. Pair him with Jamar Chase. Pair him with Tee Higgins and Joe Burrow, and put him in a spot where you have a run game too. Nobody's really talking about that. The Cincinnati Bengals are running the rock and running it effectively with Chase Brown. The offensive line's playing better, and that was kind of what this team was going to be built upon. Right? They were going to be built upon scoring a lot of points, outscoring their opponent, and kind of getting in these crazy shootouts. And it seems like they're back to that. And if the defense can build on what they did the past few weeks, look out. This is a dangerous team. We had Wayne Boxmiller on earlier in the week. I sat there and I said, I'm a Bengals fan. I'm not trying to hide it, but I'm looking at this division going, they're the best team in the division as things currently stand right now. It's all for nothing if they lose this game in Buffalo, but I think some things are trending in the right direction. Again, I don't get the line. A couple of important factors here in this game. Number one is turnover battle. Again, you could say it each and every week if you wanted to. Oh, key to victory number one, win the turnover battle. This week it feels even more important. Why? Because Buffalo has been susceptible to turning the football over in recent weeks. They've struggled protecting the football. Again, the Pittsburgh game last week, they turned it over twice in the first half. They were able to get away with it, obviously, and pull off a big 26-7 victory. But at some point, that's going to bite them. The Bengals forced 5 turnovers against the Baltimore Ravens. Are they going to be able to force 5 turnovers in this game? No, I would not count on it. But Zach Taylor talked about it coming in bunches. I don't think it would surprise anybody if the defense didn't force any turnovers. I'm expecting Josh Allen to play a good game. He's going to protect the football, right? He's trying to get off the schneid here against Joe Burrow. Head-to-head, he hasn't had any success against Joe Burrow. 2-0 record for Burrow, and it would be 3-0 on the DeMar Hamlin night. The Bengals are getting ready to blow Buffalo out of Paycor Stadium, right, if we're being completely honest here. So the Bengals have a lot of confidence in what they're doing going up against this Sean McDermott team. See if the Bengals can't force a few turnovers. They're playing better. We've detailed it. On the edges, Miles Murphy, Joseph Ossai, all of a sudden they look like competent football players. The effort, it's there. They're getting home. They're pressuring. They're getting some sacks. Promising. Back end. Dax has had an up and down year, but DJ Turner has been lights out. Has been absolutely lights out for the Bengals. And you got to think DJ Turner is going to have a good game here in this game. We talked about last week how Baltimore basically said, yeah, we're only going to go your way 2, 3, 4 times in the game. That is the sign in the NFL. If you have a corner that's not getting targeted that much, that shows you what the rest of the league thinks. The rest of the league thinks that DJ Turner is a heck of a player right now. And you look at Buffalo, and they've seemingly always struggled with this ever since Stephon Diggs left. Like, who's their one? We talked about, Kincaid, him being banged up. Not sure what his status is going to be. Shakir is a great wide receiver, is a great player, but is he really your one? Like, do you want him to be your one? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Josh Palmer, Gabe Davis, who's, an older guy, had a lot of success previously in his career with Buffalo, but he's an older player at this point. And then, you have guys that can't get out on the field, right, as well. And Keon Coleman, that's been a healthy scratch at times. And when they picked him, where they picked him in the draft, he was supposed to be their one, if not their two, and he has not been reliable whatsoever for them. So you would think that DJ Turner defensively is going to be able to have another solid game. We'll see what Dax does on the back end. Safety play. I'm buying into some of the stuff I'm seeing with this defense a little bit, particularly with the defensive line. It'll be one thing that is like, okay, Jerry Montgomery, he's making some strides here with this unit. The safeties were fine against Baltimore, but I still don't have any confidence with them. Again, Jordan Battle and Geno Stone should have given up that touchdown. Jordan Battle doesn't quit on the play. He forces the touchback. Great job by him, but I'm not counting on that continuing. I'm still very worried about those two, and I'm still very worried about the linebackers, right, especially going against Josh Allen. You're going to have to spy him in some regard, right, because this is one of those games, and you saw this with Josh early in the year against Baltimore, where he picks his spots when he runs the football. He always has that threat, but some games he says, I'm going to run, I'm going to pick up first downs, I'm going to lower my shoulder, and he's so durable, he can get away with it. This is a game he's going to do it, because it's such a big game for Buffalo, and it's such a big game in the NFL, right? It's a shame that this game got moved back to the 1 o'clock slot. I'm happy because we'll be at Smoke Justice a little bit earlier. That'll be fun. But, I mean, this is a game. I get the Bengals only have 4 wins, but this is a huge game. Not just here in Cincinnati. As far as the NFL landscape goes, the AFC playoff picture, huge game, right? And you're going to see Josh Allen use his legs in this game. You're going to see him, extend. He's going to be willing to take some hits. He's going to lower his shoulder and try to run over Barrett Carter and or Demetrius Knight in this football game, and he's probably going to have some success in the meantime doing it. But you really worry about those two guys, right? Against an elite quarterback like Josh Allen, he's going to manipulate those two with his eyes. And I don't know if they're going to be disciplined enough in order to handle it. And whoever the guy's spying them better be ready to make some tackles, right? And they better be ready to lay some hard hits because, this game is predicated on Josh Allen being Superman. And we've talked about that a lot for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you just look at the receivers he's dealing with, Shakir, Palmer, Davis. Again, I'm a big Shakir guy. I like him. But Josh Allen's going to be asked to do a lot in this football game, and ultimately we'll see how the Bengals defense can respond when it comes to that. And their second most important player, very clearly to me, their second best player, is James Cook and what he's been able to accomplish in the run game. He's a really good running back, And, I think it's important for Buffalo in this game to get out to a fast start, because we were sitting here talking going into Thanksgiving going, this Derrick Henry matchup, not loving it for the Cincinnati Bengals. You're looking at how they're doing against the Rams, like you're giving up over 5 yards per carry. Like, oh, goodness, they're in a world of hurt. Well, what happened? Cincinnati Bengals got off to a hot start. They created some turnovers. They got a lead. They built upon the lead, and Baltimore kind of had to move off the run game a little bit. So Derrick Henry really didn't have an opportunity to expose some of Cincinnati's weaknesses. Now, I understand he did get some carries, and the Bengals did a much better job at containing him, but they couldn't stick to the run as long as they wanted. Will be key for Buffalo to be able to do that. Because if Cincinnati gets an early lead in this game, they turn over Josh Allen in this game, they create a lead again, I feel great if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. If you can make Buffalo one-dimensional, take James Cook out of the game a little bit, force them to throw to guys that I just mentioned, Josh Palmer, Shakir, Davis, Kincaid if he's playing, Dawson Knox, those kind of guys, you feel tremendous if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. But I have a feeling they're going to give it to Cook early, right? Again, this is a game, if you win the coin toss for the Bengals, take the ball. I'm always a defer guy, right? I would like it to start the second half. This is a game on the road. Let's go get points with Joe Burrow. His second game back, you don't need to ease him in as much. You can go out there and be aggressive. This is a game where I'm taking the ball if I'm Zach Taylor personally, if you win the coin toss. But, Buffalo's definitely going to want to run the football with James Cook, and we'll see what kind of success they have with it. Because, again, I think if Baltimore was able to stick to it a little bit more, they would have found some success. Again, Bengals interior, it's improved. They're playing better. Guys on the edges, they're playing better as well. Linebackers, a little bit better, even though we don't feel great about them. James Cook's going to be a huge factor in this game, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he went for 120, 130 even on the ground for Buffalo in this game. So that is going to play a huge factor in this game. So that's kind of the defensive outlook for Cincinnati. Special teams, once you get to this part of the year, December, January football against good teams, against good quarterbacks, special teams has to be buttoned up. In a lot of situations, it can be the difference in winning and losing a football game. Wouldn't surprise me at all if special teams is what swung this game on Buffalo on Sunday. Good news for you. Evan McPherson's lights out. When you're talking about players that have had a ton of success for the Bengals this year, there's definitely some guys that deserve a lot of credit. Obviously, Jamar continues to do great things, not having the same year he did last year, but just the production he was able to have with his third quarterback kind of speaks to his greatness, right? He's been unbelievable. DJ Turner, of course, at the top of the list for guys that have been really good for the Bengals. Evan McPherson deserves to be up there as well. He's kicking the ball beautifully. All right, he's executing. He's not making mistakes. You're not even worried about extra points, and anything inside of 50 is automatic, and outside of 50, you feel pretty good about that there as well. So he's going to have to be good in the game. Hopefully he's not kicking a million times like he did on Thanksgiving against Baltimore. Hopefully you're having some more success in the red zone. Feel good about where you're at from a kicking perspective with him. Rico, I've been hard on him. People love giving him his flowers. I get it's impressive. He can kick the ball as far as he can, but when you're punting, right, and you pick up a first down or two, and then you're still punting, right, so you need more of a coffin corner style, a shorter kick to pin them inside their own 15, 10-yard line. He's not been good enough at that, right? He loves getting out there and punting it in the end zone. It's like, well, yeah, he kicked it 90 yards, but your net is not what we're looking for, right? He's got to be better at pinning people inside the 20. That's going to be huge for them in this game as well. Need Rico to have a big game if you're punting the ball. But again, if you only punt once or twice, 3 times in this game, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But special teams oftentimes can swing the game. This stage of the year, December football on the road, special teams unit needs to be buttoned up. I got confidence in Darren Simmons and his unit that they will be in this game against Buffalo. And then you get to the offense, right? Now's where things start to get fun. This is where this team always wakes up. I understand Joe Burrow's been out. This is only his second game back. But when you get into December football, check the stats. Check how Joe Burrow plays in December. Check Zach Taylor's record this time of the year. Bengals just win this time of the year. That's what they do. And when you look at the outlook of the offense, it's hard to imagine them playing bad in this game. It really is. Like if you sat there and said, they're going to score less than 20 points in this game, I would say you're absolutely nuts. You're out of your mind. There's just nothing that would point to that happening. You saw what Joe Burrow did. That was against Baltimore on the road, coming back right away. Right, that was his first game back after having surgery on his toe. Right, I don't expect it to be any worse than that. Does he throw a pick? Maybe. Right, but he's going to make some big plays. He's going to extend outside the pocket. Clearly, the mobility was there. Right, he's going to be accurate and he's going to bring that juice. He's going to have a great day throwing the football. And remember, last week that was just Jamar. Now likely Jamar and Tee. Uh-oh, Gesicki's back into the fold. Uh-oh, you're running the ball well with Chase Brown. Uh-oh, the offensive line has seemingly gotten better each and every week. I just don't see a world where this team goes out there and doesn't score a ton of points. If it's, rain instead of snow, again, I don't know the weather off the top of my head here, that could impact it. But as long as Burrow does what he does, takes what the defense gives him, doesn't try to force anything, which nobody is better at doing that than Joe Burrow, right? Other than maybe Tom Brady. I think you got to feel good about this team going out there and scoring some points in this game. I think the combination of Chase Brown and P. Ryan has been great. I think that quietly, too, as well, talking about, players that really have impressed you this year. Duke Tobin, we've drug him through the mud. He deserves to be drugged through the mud. The P. Ryan move this offseason, signing him, great decision. Great job. He executed that. I wonder with this team what it will look like as far as the carries, as far as how the carries are going to be split going forward, because they've kind of protected Chase Brown, which I think was a good idea, right? He ran the ball a ton last year. Remember when Zach Moss went down, it was basically exclusive Chase Brown, whereas he's out there for basically all the snaps. He's getting a ton of carries, and we're throwing him the ball, too, out of the backfield. Samaje Perine, they obviously really struggled running the football early in the year. Samaje kind of came in, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, more of a split backfield. Are they going to get back to more Chase Brown with Burrow being back? They didn't do it last week against Baltimore. You saw Perine in there, third down stuff, obviously, short yardage situations. Will he continue to kind of split the carries there, or is Chase Brown at this stage of the year going to surge ahead and get some more carries? He's playing well. His legs look fresh, but I wouldn't mess with what's working. And you're running the ball great with Perine and Chase Brown. So I got no issues splitting the carries here throughout the rest of the way, although I do think Joe Burrow brings out a whole new element to what Chase Brown can do. And I think it's really impressive, and I think we'll see that over the course of the next few weeks. But, again, I'm expecting Cincinnati to score a lot of points. I'm expecting them to be disciplined in this game and be locked in and be ready to go. And this is a place where they've had success. This is a team that they've played, and they've had success in the past. They don't play the Bills all the time. We understand that. They played twice, technically twice, 3 times with the Hamlin game, but the Bengals have played great football over the course of those matchups. I expect them to do that. And as crazy as it sounds, Joe Burrow's got more help in this game than Josh Allen. We understand what he's got from a weaponry perspective offensively, but from health defensively, they're taking strides, playing better. I don't know. I think the Bengals have a little bit more to work with here than Buffalo, to be completely honest with you. I think this spread should be closer to 3. It's at 5.5. It's come down originally from 6.5. But this game is obviously very intriguing. It's very important, and we'll revisit it for best bets of the weekend. But I think there's a lot of value in just taking Cincinnati to win there as well. Cannot wait for Sunday. Again, we'll be at Smoke Justice. Hope to see some of you guys there.